Math. Today I will be reviewing all of the formulas for AP macroeconomics. I know I've been covering micro in my channel more, but let's get on with macro. So, first we have to tackle the formulas of GDP. Now, GDP is the total value of all final goods and services produced by an economy in a given year, right? And this can be calculated through C plus I plus G plus X minus M. C being consumers, I being investors, and G being goods, plus exports minus imports, right? And that's times exports minus imports, right? So it's plus X minus M, right? So not counted in GDP are illegal activities. So that means like third-party transfers, government transfers, social security, welfare, veterans benefits, and the sale of goods, financial payments, bonds, and stocks. Now, any activities outside the market that do not result in final goods will not be counted in GDP, right? Because GDP is gross domestic product. GDP also refers to as the output or Y, right, in the aggregate demand and aggregate supply graph for macroeconomics. Now, the most accurate calculation of a nation's health is actually GDP per capita, which is GDP over the population, right? And we also have real GDP, which is adjusted for inflation, and we have nominal GDP, which is not adjusted for inflation. Nominal GDP is the current dollars, and nominal minus inflation is the real GDP. Now, how to calculate your deflator or GDP price deflator, GDP price index is your deflator is equal to nominal GDP over real GDP times 100. Now, the real GDP is equal to your nominal interest rate over your price index or deflator. All right, let's go on to the matter of inflation. Now, inflation can be calculated like this through the consumer price index, right? Now, the price index the consumer price index is the percent market basket in a specific year over the market basket in a base year times 100. Right, that is consumer price index. Rate of inflation is calculated by subtracting the current CPI from the previous CPI and dividing that by the previous CPI times 100. Now, CPI, once again, can be calculated by dividing the recent market basket in a specific year by the market basket in the base year times 100. Right. Now, unemployment is a really big part of the formulas because your unemployment rate is calculated through the number of unemployed people over the labor force times 100. That's your unemployment rate. And your civilian labor force or the labor force is just the unemployed plus the employed people. That's the number of people in the labor force, right? And so LEPR, LFPR, labor force participation rate, right? The labor force participation rate is the civilian labor force over the civilian non-institutionalized adult population times 100. Now, the employment rate is just the employed people over the civilian non-institutionalized population times 100, right? So U and E, so unemployment and employment, have different denominators and cannot be added together with the expectation of getting 100%. The non-institutionalized population is everyone over the age of 16 not in the military or other institutions. such as mental hospital or prison. So the non-institutionalized population is everyone over the age of 16 not in the military or any other institution. So to be considered unemployed, a person must be actively looking for a work in the past 4 weeks. So if you're unemployed, then you're just not looking for a job. But to be frictionally unemployed basically means that you're actively looking for a job, right? So that is what is unemployment, right? So you must be looking for a job in the past 4 weeks. Must. So yeah, like if you're not looking for a job, then you're just discouraged. You're a discouraged worker. So the natural unemployment rate varies over time and is the amount of unemployment due to structural and frictional unemployment. So just remember this is very important. Natural unemployment rate is the structural unemployment plus the frictional unemployment. This is also the vertical curve of your LRPC, which you're going to learn in the Phillips curve, right? And the full employment is when the economy is operating at natural rate of unemployment, but never 100%. All right. We have types of unemployment, which are cyclical, which relates to the business cycle. So if the business cycle is experiencing a recession, then that will result in more cyclical unemployments. If it is structural, that means that something in the structure of the economy has changed that has caused you to become unemployed. Let's say you used to operate a ticket booth at a movie, but now it's automated, so you lost your job due to structural unemployment. So that means that the skill of workers does not match the needs of the economy. Frictional unemployment is voluntary between jobs. So looking for first job. So it's just you looking for a job. It's normally caused by just a layoff or like not even a layoff, just you leaving the job. That's frictional unemployment, and then looking for a job exactly soon after. You also have seasonal employment, right? Fiscal policy. Fiscal policy. Okay, we have types of fiscal policy. Let me just break it down for you guys. So we got expansionary fiscal policy, which basically means that the government's trying to expand, so they're going to decrease interest rates, nominal interest rates, and they're going to try to push out more spending so they can expand the economy, right? That normally takes place during a recession. During a recession, we have contractionary fiscal policy, which is also used to uh, just decrease inflation. So like if a economy is going through heavy inflation, interest rates will increase, taxes will increase, all of that will increase to be able to pull down the economy so it doesn't run too hot, prices don't get too high. All right, now we have the marginal propensity to consume and save. This is probably the most important part. We got MPC is equal to the change in consumption over the change in income, right? And our marginal propensity to save, our MPC, is the change in savings over change in income, or 1 minus MPC. So change in savings over 1 minus MPC is MPS, right? And the MPC plus the MPS is always 1, right? And APS, average. I actually don't know these terms, but we have simple spending These are the spending multipliers. So 1 over 1 minus MPC or 1 over MPS. If you have MPC, you could just do 1 over 1 minus MPC and you could get the spending multiplier. Now, the MPC, if it's 0.5, it's 2 times spending multiplier. If it's 0.6, it's 2.5 times multiplier. If it's 0.75, then it's 4x multiplier. If it's 0.8, it's 5x multiplier. If it's 0.9, then it's 10x multiplier. Tax multipliers are minus MPC over MPS, which makes it 1 less than the multiplier and negative. All right. we have the change in GDP, which is calculated by the change in spending. So C, consumption, investment, and goods, X the multiplier, times the multiplier. So it's just the change in spending times the multiplier, right? And we have change in GDP, which is change in taxes. We have change in taxes times the tax multiplier, which is always negative, which gives us also the change in GDP. So change in taxes or change in spending. So change in spending times multiplier is change in GDP. Change in taxes times tax multiplier is the change in GDP. An increase in taxes change is a positive number, X, negative multiplier equals the decrease in GDP and the shift in aggregate expenditures. Wait, okay, I don't understand this part. I really don't. All right, let's go. Monetary banking. Monetary banking is just, we have the money multiplier and we have the velocity of money, right? Money multiplier is just calculated by 1 over required reserve. So, okay, let me draw an example for you guys. All right, boys. Let's say they give you this data. So they say like, yeah, this guy just deposited. We got an assets. We got a T chart here. Let's do a T chart. So let's do, this is assets, and we got liabilities. We have assets and liabilities, right? So we got, let's say, how much? Like $1,000 in assets, and then, right? So we have to see, okay, how much will I have in, let's say, if the reserve ratio is, sorry, yeah, the reserve ratio, let's say the reserve ratio is like how much? How much? 0.1. Yeah. Let's just, yeah, it's like it's 1%, so it's point 0.01. Yeah, 1%. Oh wait, no, let's just do 10. Yeah. So let's just say if it's 10%, and then it'll be 0.1. So that means that, well, we have to multiply this. We have to multiply 1,000 by 0.1. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So when I multiplied 1,000 times 0.1, I got 100. So when we have 1,000 times 0.1, we get 100. Now, 1,000, right, minus 100 is our excess reserves, ER, which is 900, right? And 900, which is our excess reserves, is effectively the price that, sorry, not the price, but it's the amount that the banks can loan out to people, right? So that's just the money multiplier. We got the 10%, yeah, the reserve ratio 10%. We got the 5%, we got the 20%, and we got the 15%. So M1 is just the currency checkable deposits, because this is going to be mentioned in the test. It's just the checkable deposits and your currency, your money. And M2 is just all of M1 and the CDs lower than 100,000 savings. So CD, just checking deposits. Velocity of money is the number of times money is used in the economy. So money velocity is just price times not price. Yeah, average price level times quantity. Yeah, P times Q. Price times quantity. So average price level times quantity of real GDP. Right. Let's go to the next concept, which is contractionary expansionary. I already mentioned this, but let's go through it one more time. Contractionary monetary policy is a tight money policy, which basically means that Federal Reserve will sell bonds, which means the money supply will decrease, and that means that the nominal interest rates will increase, right? That means that aggregate demand will increase as a result of it, and real GDP will also decrease as a result of it. But this will cause unemployment to increase and price level to decrease, which causes disinflation. We have expansionary monetary policy, which is just when Federal Reserve buys bonds, which means that they're giving money to the people, the economy. So that means that the money supply is increasing. That means that investment is decreasing. And that means that aggregate demand is increasing. That means that real GDP is increasing. That means that price level is increasing. And that means that unemployment is decreasing. Let's go. That's what expansionary is all about. All right. Thank you for listening very much. I hope this wasn't a long enough video, but this kind of covers all of the topics in macro. Thank you for listening, and bye bye.